Hey everyone, how you doing? Imran from Squadron. We're live. I'm still in the process of setting things up. As you can see, you probably saw a flash of the screen and everything up there at the moment. Um, it's been a very hectic 24 hours in my life at the minute, mainly because of the version 2. It's actually version 2.1 now anyway, but it was version 2 of the WebP converter. Um, I thought I'd done everything I could do, but then it became apparent to me that some people, it all depends on your host provider. Some people were having a few issues, so I had to obviously go and sort that out. The thing is though, the time of day when I realized I had a bit of an issue with the WebP converter version 2, and like I said, it's been sorted for version 2.1, which is now out. It was like, let me just increase the volume there. It was 1 a.m. Sorry, I just increased the volume over there, so you might have seen a sudden jump there in the volume. I actually was quite ill last night. It was about 1 a.m. I felt really funny, got up, went to the bathroom, and then I basically was sick, vomited. You don't want to hear that, but I was. And then just as I was resting and like getting my thought processes clear kind of things, I didn't feel good. I then saw the comments from the YouTube and I could see some people reporting server 500 errors. And I was like, hold on, what's going on here? And then I realized, oh no, is it due to a particular processing of deletions and whatever? Because some people have a bit of an issue with that with regards to their providers or their host provider. So just been sick, not feeling good, feeling crap, felt cold. I felt really cold and clammy and I did not feel good. Anyway, hey Tom. Anyway, and WebRiser. I came down and I basically just booted up my machine. We're talking about 1:15 now, ish at night. Booted up my machine, and then I was here till about 3:30. No, it's about 3ish. I'd say 3ish. Because by 3:30 I was back in bed, but about 3ish, so about 1.5 hours working on the solution, testing it out, testing it on another test site, and then getting version 2.1 out. Um, because I could have left it, but if I hadn't dealt with it within 3 hours of the video and the code being out there, if I didn't deal with it until say 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, and then it took another hour and a half or 2 hours to fix it, the solution might not have been out there until 7, 8 a.m. And that is going to affect trust. Now, I know people know that things can go wrong and you can't predict every single situation, but in this one, I was aware of it and I had to sort it out. I'm glad to say everyone that had that server 500 issue has now reported they no longer have that issue. Everything's all right. But I have said that just double check your files and your databases. But the thing that has still a little bit annoyed me is some people are still using the WebP converter tool, or they're testing it out on a website, a live website, without taking a backup or a staging site. And even then, I would say staging sites can be a bit risky as well. My ultimate failsafe is when I'm doing it on like a client's website, one of my other websites, and when I tested it on someone else's website and they shared their login with me, I installed all-in-one migration and I exported their entire file and database to my hard drive. So if there was a total critical failure or whatever, and even the backup restoration doesn't work, you've got this hard copy, digital virtual copy that you could then re-upload somewhere and you're back to where you were before you installed that code snippet or copied it over. And I think a lot of people go, well, I got updraft or I got this or I got that. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's on you to be ultra careful and ultra sure. I need to do something, and you're going to see some funny stuff appear on the screen in the next few moments. So I'm going to try and add my remarkable in. I haven't done it for a while, so when I resume it, basically when I redo it right now, you're probably going to see like some weird stuff appear on the screen, but don't worry about that. So is anyone here using the WebP Converter version 2.1? I also want to address the fact that I feel like I've come to a point where there's only so much I can do with the code. And some people still want some further enhancements. No one is asking me to change what I've got, but they want further enhancements. And I feel like I'm out of my comfort zone now because these extra enhancements, like doing a cron job, turning it into a cron and stuff like that, I could use AI to make it do that, but then I lose trust in myself over double checking and QAing everything, and if there's an issue, then sorting it out. And I feel like if anyone else wants to take over the code or adapt it and add to it, they're entirely allowed to do that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? I have no issue with that. What I would say, though, is I'm still trying to open my Remarkable Pro on the screen, is that once they've done that, or they can advise me the what, the where, the how, what needs to change or be elaborated or adapted or anything like that, once we do that. By the way, the comments seem to have stopped. Can someone just make a comment? I just want to be sure that the comments are coming through because I feel like I might be wrong. I'm just going to go back to my live streaming window. Ah, Pedro, hey, how you doing? Did you just write that now, Pedro? Because all of a sudden the comments went flat, and I don't know if that was something wrong with my machine then. So yeah, hey Phil Boyd, yep, cool. So the WebP converter, which is at version 2.1, can evolve, I think. Because I know some people are looking into how do we get rid of unused images. So you may have 1,000 images, but 600 of them are not being used at all on your website, in your post, your custom post, your products, nothing like that. Because the product was either deleted. Normally it does delete the images, but there may be other images inside your WordPress files and databases that are not being used at all anywhere, but they're still taking up space. Now, I did have the delete unused images code snippet about a year ago. Now, that video I have made unlisted or private because I don't want people to use that code because it worked for me. It worked for a lot of other people. But when you delete unused images on some websites, what it does is it throws up, it identifies sometimes incorrect images. I mean, I always found that you had the choice of what you wanted to delete, by the way. I mean, that's really important. A lot of people sometimes overlook that, but you did. I just have to quickly just select something over here. Everyone had the ability to present with that. Yeah, you could decide what you were going to delete. So if it said, I've identified 100 images that are not being used on your website, you could decide which ones you were going to get rid of. But even then, people weren't totally happy. Even though I says if you go and delete it without double checking, again, that's on you. But I know some other people are looking at how could we incorporate that into the WebP converter tool. Just make it like a all singing, all dancing kind of bit of code. So I'm hoping at some point we will probably get to that stage where we can add that in. But like I said, if you are using or you're interested in using the WebP converter tool, which is completely for free, there's no monetization, there's no secret gateways or, I'm not hiding info away or anything like that. Please feel free. I keep looking up here because I need to see what I'm doing on my screen, which is really, really annoying because I'm trying to transfer my Remarkable over to the screen so that we can possibly write on it. And you're probably going to see something appear very, very soon on the screen or not. Depends on where it's gone. I don't know why it doesn't seem to be working at the moment. This is my fault for trying to think that I could. No, it's not appearing at the moment. I'll work it out in a moment. Don't worry about that. I will work it out. It will appear at some point. Let me just go to properties and work out where is it. What screen are we on? We're on the wrong Asus 1920 VP228. That's that screen. Yeah, there we go. It's there. Got it. I was wondering where it was then. There we go. It's on screen now. Cool. WebRiser, when saving a container design block for later use, is there a way to show a preview image of the saved design in WordPress or only a description? Good question. So if you're using Elementor's new theme editor, because you can activate it in the features tab, then if you create a template and you save it, Hey, ML web design. So if you create a container or a page or a post template, it can even be just like a section container, right? If you save that as the new with the new theme editor activated, then when you go to install a template, a bit like the Skelementor website, if you go and look at that website, right, the Skelementor website will like gives you like a a little image of what you're going to be installing. Well, the same with the theme editor. So when you go to the theme editor, you'll now get a preview of the page or the post or a container or something like that. I have to be honest, I don't actually use it because I prefer to just visually kind of like, I prefer to see the list of items because when you have, I'll draw it on screen, yeah. But when let me just sit like this because it's easier for me to show you then. But when you have the theme editor and you've got all of these like that appearing on screen, right? There's only going to be so much you'll see. Whereas when you have it as the normal like theme where you select all and then you have like your templates listed like that, I always find it's easier. Plus you can see loads of details. So you might have, for instance, you might have like 3 single post templates, but you will see that this one has none in terms of instances, right? So instances, right? And this one will be post. So I can see that if I'm going to edit or pick one, I have to pick this one because maybe they've got exactly the same name. So it's easier, I find. Whereas with the theme editor and I have the boxes, I don't know, I feel detached and I have to then click it and inspect it and check it. Phil says, forgive my ignorance. Of course, I've just started looking into WebP and don't know much about this tool. The tool actually converts all images on a site to WebP. Yes. So let me now clarify, right? If you activate the tool, okay, then every new image that is uploaded, and this could be to your media library or via an element or a widget, say you drop in an image and then you click upload and then you go and pick an image from your downloads or anything like that, what will then happen is that will become a WebP. If, however, you have got existing images, right, they will remain as a PNG or a JPEG until you click Run All. Now, when you do Run All, they will then become a WebP as well. But there is an option that you can tick to preserve. And I'm not talking about jam, right? You can preserve the original file. So what will happen is they'll convert into WebP, but the original, right, will remain. If you do not tick the preserve, they will be deleted as well. I prefer to get rid of them. I don't care about the PNG and JPEG. I'm happy to just have WebP. So new images will convert automatically. If you don't want them to convert automatically, deactivate the plugin. Because when you activate the plugin, it won't do anything. Activating the plugin does not start regenerating stuff. It's just activated. And it won't perform what it needs to do until you add a new image or you hit Run All to convert existing. So at any point in time, if you feel like, right, I've done everything I need to do with conversions, but now I want to add a few more images, but I don't want them to be converted, fine, just deactivate the plugin, the snippet, and then you can add them in. But don't forget, you could reactivate the snippet. You can reactivate the snippet. You could hit Run All to touch them and convert them. But you can also exclude. There is an option for you to exclude images. So if you decide that you've got 4 images, right? And these are all existing. I got to write quicker on here, innit? These are existing images. You might say exclude this particular image. So that, and that, when you hit Run All, will become WebP. whereas this image will remain as a PNG. And like I said, if you tick the box, the PNGs for this image, and this image will remain. So I've tried to kind of like, hey, Paul, I was going to say, yeah. So I've tried to build in as many safety nets as possible, but there comes a point with how far can I take it? And, some of it has been me, some of it's been my problem solving, a lot of it has been AI. So I will direct it and I explain what I want it to do and then, QA check it. But there will come a point where if it needs to evolve further, it's open source code. If anyone takes my code and monetizes it, even when they evolve it, I'll be a little bit annoyed because the whole point of creating this was that putting something back out there into the community with a problem that a lot of people have wished WordPress just did out the box. They were gonna do it a year ago and then they pulled out because the whole thing about small JPEG versus WebP, that some people weren't happy about that. So this tool is going to do a whole lot for you. And also, I know people are saying, well, what about AVIF, which is better? But if you have a phone which is less than iOS 16, because iOS 16 was 2022, think about kids that have inherited a phone from their mum and dad and they're using it for school, or they take it to school with them or out and about, or anyone that's got a phone that's not updated or they haven't, they can't use AVIF on the iOS 16, below iOS 16. And, most of the main browsers are okay with AVIF, but iPhones and some devices, you're going to have an issue. And I feel like we need to be careful there. The same with HEIC. I know that's a major problem with iPhone photos. Sometimes you have to convert them to a JPEG or a PNG before you can do much with them. If you're not using some special photo editing software, you got to convert them first. That requires a lot more. It's bad enough expecting you to have these libraries on these are two, by the way, GD and Imagic, these libraries on your host provider. Some host providers won't have it. Some host providers will have outdated versions. Some host providers won't let you use them the way you want to use them. So you're always up against the variation and variability that we have in the world with regards to what is on your host provider. So I feel like the tool goes so far. I think it's amazing in what it does. I'm being biased here, but there's been so many people who are using it and they're totally happy with it. I mean, the best time to use it, I think, is on a new website. But if you've got an existing website and it's loaded with images and you just want to do the mass conversion and all of that and maybe scale them as well, scale the height or the width. I mean, it's so unbelievably versatile in what you could do. I mean, it's ridiculously versatile, especially the exclusions aspect. The fact that you can click it and pick images from your media library and say, right, don't touch them. Part of me thought about, why don't I flip it and say include rather than exclude? But then what if you want to include all of them, but you just want to exclude few of them? It then starts to get silly. Hemel, is there anything that limits the number of images to be processed? I find it keeps stopping. Now, that's down to your host provider. So I did one website that was 1,500 images, no problem. Did another website that was 4,145. I mentioned it in Monday's video. That went through no problem. It did take 25, 26 minutes, but it did them. And what it actually does now, version 2 and version 2.1, it runs them in batches of 50. Before it was like going, like image. So there's a lot of back and forth between your site, the server, and that's basically adding a lot of load onto the server. Now it does it in batches of 50, which is better, safer. There might be a delay in the log updating. You might have like a 20, 30-second gap before you see the log update because it does it in batches. But it does work. Now, Hemel, you say you run your own servers, but I don't know what servers you got. And, so many people are using it and it's working for them. And this is the gray area, right? Because I don't know if you would still have the same issue if you ran a plugin, a WebP converter plugin. I don't know. You might say, actually, you don't have a problem. Oh, I just got to open the door. Hold on a second. Yo, sorry, it's the wind. Shut the door. My cat's outside. I don't want him to think that that I've just shut the door on him. No, it's like if another converter tool works fine on your server as a plugin, I would say just use that. Because this is the point where I get to a point where there's only so much I can do. And if anyone knows how to make it better, and I've put this out in social media posts, and I think I put it as a comment or something in the video as well, and on the Web Squadron Facebook group. If you want to help evolve it and you want to take it further, there's no point saying to me, what about this? And what about this? And can we do this? And can we do that? For me, it's like, I've given you this massive bit of code now. If we can make it more efficient, tell me how. If we can add something to it, tell me how. What? Where? Where do we make that change? Because some people have said to me, oh, why don't you just convert it into a cron? And by the way, if that person's here, this ain't. I'm not having a go, but you're right. It would be good to do that. But then I'm like, I could go to AI, but AI might not get it right, and I'm very protective over the fact the code works really well now. So what I'd rather have is someone goes, we can turn this into a cron, and this is how. So here's your code, 1,500 rows of code, right? In line ... where you have this, we need to replace that with this. A bit like what AI does. But what people do is they fire a message to me and they go, what about this? And I'm like, I don't want to touch it anymore. So I would say we can evolve it together. We can evolve it together. Just coming back to some of the questions, comments. Did I say hi to you, Paul? I did, didn't I, Paul? I did say hi. My brain's going a bit. Because like I woke up at 1 a.m. I was basically sick, vomited. I was not good. Something I ate the night before, I was not good. Then I saw a comment while I was getting my senses together that the code had a server 500 critical error. Came down, booted the machine up. I was here till 3 a.m. Got it fixed. Didn't get back to bed, I think, until 3:30 because I had to make sure I put the code on, purge the server cache, make sure everything was all right, update the video, make sure things were done right. Because I was like feeling like I was not good last night. I was clamming up and everything, not good. And then I had about, I reckon, just over an hour and a half sleep from the 3:30 to about 5-ish. And then I was back up, feed the cats, jump back on the stepper, start doing work, checking the comments, make sure things are working. And since version 2.1, it was all right. No, at first I thought if I got norovirus, but luckily I've been okay for the day. Not sick and not shouting everywhere, if that makes sense. Phil says, will it actually do all the compressions as well, not just renaming? Yeah, that's what the WebP conversion is. That's the compression. And what you might want to do is, I keep saying this, right? Take a backup. My recommendation is all-in-one migration. Download to your hard drive the entire file database, right? You hit export and it does it. Then what you need to do is create a backup. Maybe do it on a staging site and go and test out. My son's here and I'm just going to quickly check what he wants. So I'm just going to go mute for a moment. Couldn't unmute it. He's just saying the ice cream man's back, and him and the ice cream man, he's a good friend of ours as well. So he's going to pop into his van and go around and serve ice cream to people. I don't know. So what was I saying? Compression conversion. Oh, I've lost my train of thought now. Anyway, yeah, I've lost my train of thought. Crafty team, yeah. Were you the one who was speaking about the cron? And by the way, it's not a criticism, but it's like yours is actually not a big one. There were others coming out with what about this and can we add that and can we get it to do X, Y, Z? And I was like, how far do you want me to go with this code? Because I'm not getting paid for it. It's not. I don't want. I'm not. There is no monetization on it, and the amount of time I've spent. Friday morning, I had this idea to do this. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I thought we were okay and I released it. Then Monday, we realized there were issues or whatever. It worked for some, worked great for others. And, there was always some, it didn't work right. So my Monday got mashed out. And then Tuesday, I was still improving it. Wednesday afternoon, I got it to a point where I was like, great, it's ready. And then Wednesday afternoon, I recorded the video and then got it ready for Thursday release. And then obviously we know at 1 a.m. I felt sick and then I realized there's a server critical error 500. Funny that I did not get that issue, nor did the 3 other websites I tested on, nor did the 2 other people who said I could run it on their backup staging websites. And it was a bit unusual. Why is it that my website 3 plus 2, 6 websites, nothing like that happened? But with some people, one of them was a hostinger. I can't remember what the other ones were, but I know one was a hostinger. So I don't know. But that being said, I went and reviewed and removed something that was happening to make it safer. And I think that's the best I can do sometimes. By the way, Crafty, I'll go back to your question. When I have a website that has over 10,000 images, I prefer to download the upload folder and convert them with a Python script and upload them back. Whoa. Do you know what? That is probably a very good way to do it. I feel like this snippet or this tool is aimed at those people that won't have a clue about any of that, let alone who to work with or who to trust to do anything. And they let their websites grow. And this is the point about WordPress, okay? If you take all of the improvements they make within core and everything they're doing with, Gutenberg and all of that, and we take all of the improvements, like one of the ones they went on and on and on about was how, you can like zoom in, like when the VH, so you can actually see a full page like that. So you can start editing bits rather than just seeing the immediate VH and all of that. And I thought that was a really neat feature. But who really needed and wanted that? Because I have felt for a long time, okay, ever since we all knew that using WebP was all right, okay, we still don't have that happening. And there are so many people. Tell me the last time you saw any proper comms on WordPress, WordPress.com, WordPress.org, and all of that. Anything, even some tutorials out there, right? When has there ever been the focus on that? So what happens is someone will see an advert or they're told, yeah, you can do your blog on WordPress, make loads of money and whatever, do loads of blogs, embed your videos and all of this shit. And then slowly the website might have started off as 100 megabytes. And then within a year, it's now gone to say 2 gigabytes. And they may not realize that or care because they went and got some hosting. The following year, you've now gone from 2 gigabytes to, say, 8 gigabytes. And you're now getting warnings from your host provider. Inodes, this, that, things are being sucked up, used, all of that, and you are now in danger. Or they'll say, you need to upgrade your package. And now you're going to go from, say, I'm going to do this. No, we'll do this in dollars, all right, because it's easier to understand for some people. You may be going now from $100 for the year for your hosting to something like $400. And you're going, what? I'm posting all this stuff. I'm getting some visitors. I'm not really making much money off it. What am I going to do here? And then when you get to the root cause, what you'll find is that when you go over to site, tools, site health, directory, and sizes, you will see that your total installation might be 8 gigabyte. Yeah, okay. But your uploads folder is responsible, say, for 7.5. And one of the websites we did, and I on Monday before I released, Sunday, sorry. No, it was Monday. No, it was Sunday. It was Sunday. One of the tests we did, it was 7.7 gigabytes. That was the size of their entire website. I can't remember how much of that was the I think it was 6.6, because what happened was it actually went to 1.1 gigabytes. So when you go from 7.7 to 1.1, this is really messy, isn't it, the way I've done this? 6.6 was the images, right? But what I've done in version 2.1, because the previous version 1, if you uploaded an image that was, say, 10 megabytes and it was, say, 348 by 20, it's not 2048. No. Whatever, right? I'm getting this wrong now. It's for 3840, sorry. When you upload your images, right, you will probably get 10 images, and you don't even know you're getting 10 images. You get the original big, then you get a 2058 or something size, or something, 204858, whatever, 1536, 1000, 1048, 736, 548, 300 probably, and then you get your 150 by 150. So you're going to get 10 images loaded through into your files and databases, and you don't even know about them. The point of why you have that, though, is for responsiveness, right? Now, I am a little bit blasé about that, because when you have a WebP, you can get away with it, but some people get very, even though it's a WebP, we would prefer to have the right scaling size. So what I've now done, okay, is ensured that get rid of that, delete. What we now have is that when you are running all or uploading a new image, you are allowed to set 4 sizes, right? So you may set 1920, and then you may go, okay, we'll have a 600 as well. We'll have a 300 as well. You can have up to 4, right? So you might want to go with a 900 as well. You don't have to. The 150 by 150 happens by default. That is outside of the 4 sizes rule. So don't think you got to include that as well. That will always happen by default. Okay, always by default. Okay, so 1920, 900, 600, 300. So when it goes through and converts them and then get rid of the other sizes, it will keep those ones for you. So it starts to maintain everything. And the other great thing is when you go into, say, a page builder and you pick an image, you have the options for the resolution. You'll have thumbnail, which is the 150 by 150. In fact, I should clarify that, right? So let's say you have gone and set these sizes, right? They're the 3 widths you've set. You will always have the 150 by default, okay? But you've set these 4 sizes. That will be your full, right? That will be your thumbnail. So when you see the word full, it's referring to your biggest size that you set. The thumbnail is always the 150 by 150. And then what you'll find in the drop down is you'll have that, and that. Before, when you went in, you'd have like 1536 times 3980 and you're kind of going, what? And there's all this variation. Now you're controlling everything that comes through. So I think it's massively. Samu, what do you mean I blocked you? Are you sure I blocked you? Are you sure? The thing is, though, I can't remember everyone I blocked, but what I would say is, did you say or do anything in the group kind of thing? I asked for help, but you blocked me instead of help me. What was the help you asked for? Because it very much depends on what's happening here. Like what kind of help you wanted. I am very harsh on when I kick people out. Like if I find they are soliciting, if I feel like they're spamming, if I feel like they're asking and demanding help, I'm not saying you were, but if they keep going, if they don't respect the fact that we're offering our services for free and that we're not there at everyone's beck and call to help people out, if they don't respect that, I go, fine, you're not staying in the group. And the thing is, I can be harsh, and I'm allowed to be harsh, But what were you asking, just to be sure? Just coming back onto the questions. Hey, Jono from Cape Town. Paul says, I figured your comment about someone's feedback would be that exact point you just mentioned. Which one? Paul. Oh my God, Paul. I've said so much, right? I don't even know what comment you're talking about anymore. Oh my God, this is really bad of me, right? Paul will know what I mean, right? You know, when we talk and then we go back to the chat and we see someone say something and we sit there going, which comment does he mean now? I've completely lost it. Crafty team, another thing I've done for a client was to add to functions PHP, a function that doesn't allow the client to upload images max 80 KB. That's not bad, but that's a little harsh though, isn't it? Because you could have a 1920 by 1080 image that is a WebP, and it might be 135 kilobytes. 80 is quite... I mean, 80, you know, if you know it's good. About responsive images, yes. The thing is, though, is that I have found, right, that when I'm working on websites for years and years and years, and I only have the large WebP and the 150 by 150, I've never had an issue. Not even with page speeds for those sites. Everything's okay. Because I think what some people fail to understand is that a 1920 1080 PNG or a 3840 or 1920, we'll go with that size, could be 5 megabytes. When you make that into a WebP, that same size is now 130 kilobytes. Okay, now I agree. If it was made even smaller in dimension, it will shrink to 5 or 4 kilobytes, even better. But it's never been a problem. But to satisfy people and to show I respect your view and you want it and it's not that difficult to add back in, you now have that facility. And I do think that, be honest, right? Think of every other WebP converter tool you have accessed or you've used or are using on your website. I'm not talking about online tools like TinyPNG or bulkresizePhotos.com or anything like that, okay? Because they're quite limited in what they do anyway. They tend to just convert in batch or whatever, right? Or 20 at a time or something. Compared to any plugin, and I mean plugin, okay, that you've used on WordPress, WP Optimize from a compression conversion. How would you feel? How do you feel the features that I give you inside of the WebP converter come up against them? And I think I'm not saying it's far better, but I feel like you've got a shitload more control, especially when it comes to your sizes and stuff like that. Let's go back to the comments. Samuel was posting a post about my issue explaining details in GitHub, so I include GitHub link on that. Samu. No. So what happened was, Samuel, I think you might have been, you might have repeatedly kept tagging me, and I think I said no, I remember now, Samuel. I said, what you said was there's a problem, and the problem's been raised in GitHub, and I came back to you and said, rather than expecting people to go to GitHub to then work out what's happening or what's the state of play, you need to clarify here. Because that's like, I go into a room and I say to people, there's a problem in the car park. And they all say, what's the problem? And I say, I'm not going to tell you, but what you need to do is go to this link, download a report, read the report, because there's 20 people have commented, and then make your own mind up about the problem and the resolution and what's going on or not going on, and then come back to me to say what you think about the car park, even though I'm the one that walked in the room and said there's a problem in the car park, because I was in the car park, so I saw what the problem was. When you do that, and I said, you need to clarify better so that we don't have to go there, you then came back with a link again. You just put the same link. And I saw that as you're not listening. You're not understanding the problem here. Because there's nothing worse than, like, you've got a problem and someone has with Elementor or something, and someone's put it on GitHub, and there may have been loads of people back and forth, back and forth. I and everyone else should not have to go to GitHub, right? Read all of the exchanges and then start to go, so is it this? Is it that? What is he having the exact same problem? Is his problem slightly different? Is he using different plugins? Is it a structure? What we need, and I make this clear all the time. Sometimes I say it in the Elemental group. I go, well, what exactly are you asking for? Because it gets irritating. And if anyone here has done this, I'm sorry if I offend you. But if you post a Loom video because you can't be asked to explain it in words, right? I don't like it. Now, if you tell us the problem and then you say, and here's a Loom video to show it in action so that you can now see it in action as well and understand better, that's okay. But the amount of times people have posted in the Web Squadron group, and what they've done is they just shove a Loom and they go, I'm having this problem, watch the video to understand. What fucking problem are you talking about? I'm not going to click play and watch a 3-4 minute video because I don't even know what it is, because I might watch it and go, actually, I have no interest in solving that, or I don't know what to do with that, or I don't care. I can make that choice before I watch it. But if all you get is a video, don't get it. And I'm glad you understand, but that's what the problem was, because too many people do this. They go, oh yeah, there's a problem. Go click here. This is what someone else said. It's better if you explain the problem, how you're getting it, why you're getting it, and what have you done. Then you can say, someone said it might be due to this. I don't think it is. Here's a link to my page where I'm having this problem. Because too many people don't do that. I'm having this problem. I built this out. The flip card's not working. I built this out and the mega menu is not appearing. Well, I know I can build out an Apple mega menu. People have said to me, oh, I get this white screen. Well, I don't get that. And I built it twice, and on no occasion did I get this issue. So how can we help or answer? But I think there's a bit of disrespect. And I'm sorry, Samu, if I sound harsh, but I think people disrespect that the minute I start answering a question, I've just stopped doing what I was doing. I've stopped working. I've stopped producing something that is probably going to earn me some income or whatever, right? Because I'm now going to spend 20 minutes looking at a problem and thinking, well, what could it be? And were they right or were they wrong? And what do I get for those 20 minutes? Nothing. What do you get? A solution, maybe. Do you earn from it? Maybe you do because it's for a client. And that's the imbalance of respecting time. So I would say to anyone, if you go and post questions in the Web Squadron group and you don't take the time to clarify, like so many people go, I've got an issue, whatever, but they don't clarify what version of Elementor you're using. Is it a theme? Do you know how many times people have a problem? And then you go, what are you using? And then they go and say Ocean WP or another theme or another plugin, or they've got some security installed or optimization. And you go, well, it's probably that. And it's like, if you had told us that, there wouldn't have been like 4 or 5 comments to what you got. And what about this? And what about that? And people just kind of go, oh, I'm not going to tell you that because based on me saying I updated and my page fell over, we're going to know what it is, kind of thing. That shows a lack of experience in life, I think. When you go through loads of problems in the world with your education, your knowledge, people, life, work, all of these things, your car, your house, all of that, you look at problems in a different way because you know that if I have a problem with my electricity and I contact an electrician, if I say my electric's not working, that doesn't mean nothing to them. If I say, though, my electrics were fine, and then I went and installed something, or I plugged something else and it went off. I went to the RCD, I turned it all on, and everything worked except this one plug. I think I can smell some burning. I'm not sure if it's burnt out, but I think there might be an issue with the line. The electrician might go, you know what? It could be this or it could be that. Look, I'll have to come out. There's a call out charge or whatever. And I know, fine, they'll come in. But if you just ring someone up and go, my TV's not working. Say you got Sky TV and you go, oh, my Sky TV's not working. Sky going to go, well, when you say not working, does the TV not come on? No, the TV's on. The Sky box ain't working. Right. So is the Sky box turned on? No, the Sky box ain't turned on. Right. So you're getting no power. Can you see how the questions we ask can navigate us to a better answer? And I think that's the thing. I get really irritated by this. I'm really sorry, Sam. We're not having a go at you or anything like that. But that's the way it goes. And what I would always say is, if you know you asked the wrong question, if you can't edit it, and you can edit your own questions, everyone can edit their question. There's no restrictions to that. If you realize you asked it wrongly, delete it and ask again with better clarity. And you do that, you're probably going to get far more engagement and people. Because I can tell you now, a lot of people, I've noticed that when people just shove a Loom video on and they haven't bothered to say, well, what is the problem? And all they say is watch the Loom to understand my problem, they get next to zero engagement. And I often have to jump in and say something or say, okay, I think it might be this because I don't want them to feel like they're being ignored. But go and look at your forums at how many just drop a Loom in and look at how many likes they get or anything or any comments. They're either zero or very, very low. And that's why. That was a very long answer about something I feel like doesn't get spoken about enough. Ben MP, I'm starting out, I'm alone. Should I work as a single person freelancer or as an agency? Well, the thing is, though, okay, if you were going to work as an agency, could you hire people? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Would people want to work with you? Can you get big enough projects where you can split the income so you take your cut, developer takes their cut, etc.? Is it like a 0 hours contract? So you get no jobs and the developer with you does not get paid. Is the developer going to stick around with you, or have you got loads of jobs coming in? As a single person freelancer, if you're getting loads of jobs, you might want to think about agency or sharing work out or hiring people, subcontracting. If you only get 1 or 2 jobs a week or a month, maybe you're better off doing it on your own. It all comes down to what is the inflow, and can you handle it? If not, can you branch out? But then you got to think about, if you branch out and then the inflow goes down, are the people you're hiring or whatever going to be happy to stick around? And they may not. It's business 101, really. Crafty Team says he had 71 gigabytes in images. We're talking about that previous example there. Wow. Shane, your snippet is way better than Short Pixel has ever been for me. Yes. Not that I got anything against Short Pixel. And I'm not trying to hurt any companies out there, by the way. I respect what people do. But I've always felt that sometimes having to pay, like some of these plugins say, right, the first 100 images is free. The first 5,000 is free. And then when you really, really need it, you can't without paying for like credits and stuff. And I always kind of go, one thing they do is they take the images off onto their CDN, their own server. So they take the load off your website. If your host provider has issues with you converting and all of that. So I would say, try out my snippet. If it's not working for you, there are other solutions. And if you don't want to try it, don't try it, right? Don't use it. It's plain and simple. You're not paying to use this snippet other than your time, kind of thing, if you want to give it a go. Respect, why don't you build tools for your website so people can come and use the tools? You can monetize it through ads. Because I already have courses. I already have the $1 packs. I have free packs. I have people pay me to build websites. Had 2 client calls today. They look like they are go, but I just need to double check a few things on their website because they're going to share. I always say, even when they're ready to work with me, I just need to see your back end. I need to just understand your structure in case something jumps out on me and makes me go, whoa, this is way more work than I actually thought or what they've told me. But, and people hire me for consultations. Usually they're 1 hour. Very rarely does someone go for half an hour. They're usually 1 hour consultation. So I don't want to build major tools. And here's the reason why. If we take the WebP converter tool, right? If we take WebP, right, it is out there, right? And if I turned it into a plugin and I start to monetize it, monetize it, right? If I start to monetize, that's meant to say monetize, by the way, right? If I monetize it, and even if I have it as a free, there is now onus, not anus, there is now onus on me to proper maintain and look after that, right? I did a snippet. The snippet is a snippet, right? It might work one day, it might not work in a year's time, whatever, right? That can happen. You might have a snippet for ACF changed things, snippet stops working. You might do a snippet for WooCommerce. Do you remember I had a snippet for WooCommerce modifying the checkout fields? And then WooCommerce went to version 9 and that code stopped working. And loads of people were unhappy. And I was like, but it's a snippet. If you want to work it out, because it's not on my priority list right now, go and work it out. But even then, people were unhappy. And then eventually I looked into it, worked on it, spent time, and I cracked it and got it to work properly. So I made people happy. But maybe in WooCommerce 10, 11, 12, what if they change it again? All of a sudden, that snippet does not work. What if you do WordPress core? I mean, look, admin site enhancements plugin, right? A lot of people have paid for that. What if WordPress core do something fundamentally different to their interface and everything, but all of a sudden admin site enhancement plugin no longer works? Well, there's loads of people that have paid for a lifetime deal on that. So what happens there? Do they refund? Do they have to now suddenly fix it and make it work? What if you can't make it work? So I'm not trying to say, I'm backing out of supporting the WebP converter, because I will, and I hope other people support me to make it better and improve it and look after it as well if it ever falls over in the future or whatever. But I'm not going to make it a plugin where all of a sudden my entire life becomes looking after that plugin, because it's free. There's no monetization. And if I monetize it so people pay for it, $5 lifetime deal or whatever, I'll keep it really cheap, $10, whatever. Then I hire a developer to help look after it. The onus is still on me now to make sure we keep it working when there's major changes. I have enough shit to worry about without the burden of that. But the reason I got this snippet made and put it out there was because people were crying out for it. People I know were using other plugins and going, ugh. It's okay to a point. And even when they're paying for it, it's okay to a point. There's a limitation. It did more than they wanted, but they can't control it. It didn't do enough, but they can't control it. And I just feel like, what were the really important bits? The sizing, deleting of old images. The scale is the sizing, the conversion, making sure it happens on upload without you having to think about it. It just does it. Making sure you can run back through your historical legacy stuff. The new version now with all the exclusions. The fact that you can now scale the height if you don't want to do the width, and you can jump between the two at any time. So you could do the width and then you could do the height. You can think about it in quite a logical way. There's so much potential there. The quality doesn't seem to work for everyone. So there's a quality slider. And some people have said that, so there's a quality slider on there as well. So it goes from 0 to 100, right? Some people have said that they get the same output whether they go for like 50% or 80. That's down to your GD or a Magic library. I can't control that. But if that slider is not working, like it's not making a major difference, whether you do 1% or 80%, I can tell you now, by default, right, the libraries will do 82%. So 82% is pretty damn good, in my opinion. And if you don't like it, don't run it, right? Or deactivate it when you add a new image so it doesn't get auto converted. So then you only convert what you want to convert when you hit run all, but you exclude maybe your logo. Maybe you exclude a really super powerful hero banner image. You don't want them to get touched. You don't want your favicon to get touched. None of them to be touched. Fine. Just do it. Do that then. Click it, run all. It won't touch them, but they will probably remain as a PNG or a JPEG. And you can delete them or preserve them. I've mentioned it many times now, okay? You can keep the original PNG and JPEG in your files and database, so they're not deleted. I did as much as I can, people. I did as much as I can. Jono, they expect you to smell what the problem is. Exactly, that's what I mean, Jono. They kind of like, people do sometimes, just checking the time, because I think I've been live for about 1 hour. No, I think I've been live for about 55-ish minutes or so-ish. V, you appreciate what I do. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and everyone else that watches the videos and comments, feedback, good and bad. Helps me learn, helps me to better myself. Just knocked my elbow on the chair. Never good when I do that. I gave you the confidence regarding the development niche, making it seem so easy. I don't want to make it sound easy because I know things can be hard. But if it's helping you to branch out and do something that you're passionate about and you love, I really hope that helps you out. Crafted team, I want to see them putting some effort into that, but they just expect to solve it for them without them even trying. Exactly. Mohammed Ibrahim, how to do cool advanced animations on WordPress Elemental. Now, Mohammed, here's a classic example of what I've been ranting about. What do you mean by cool advanced animations? Because I've done videos on how you can do stuff that is what you would normally do with GSAP without even using GSAP. I've got videos on that. But what do you mean by advanced animation? It's like walking into a restaurant and saying, I want some rice. Have you got any rice? I want to eat some rice. And the Indian restaurant is going to go, you know, like, what rice? Plain rice? Keema rice? Lamb biryani rice? Chicken biryani rice? Mixture biryani rice? Potato rice? Bombay potato rice? What do you want? How to do cool advanced animation. That entire sentence, okay, is full of assumption. What is cool to you may not be cool to me. What is advanced to you may not be advanced to me. Animation to you may not be animation to me. Like a GIF. I don't call a GIF an animation, I just call it a GIF, right? So, in a way, animations are kind of GIFs and all of that, blah, 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 I know what you mean, right? But if you can expand on that, maybe we can clarify or help a little bit. But this is the same scenario when people ask any question. Zero clarity, because I can, like, Charles Xavier into your mind and read your thoughts. Not that I want you. Pulp, building a teacher booking site, Elemental, 6 to 7 pages, designer handles, right, so a designer handles the Figma and the client talks. All you do is the dev, the building of the website. How would you split revenue failure here? Okay, fine. So Pulp, right, let's take this scenario, okay? So there's going to be, obviously, whatever is the cost of the website. Let's say 10K is the cost, right? So even though the designer is going to be doing quite a lot of work, okay, how much time are they spending? How much time? And how much time are you spending on developing, right? Because if you know, and no bullshit, don't make up the values that, you know, you're going to, you know, and it all depends on the complexity of the design and all that. Let's just say a 6 to 7 page website. Let's just say 4 days. Okay? Let's just say 4 days. How long is the designer going to spend? And again, I know that, like, when you're working 4 days on a website, you're going to be working, right? You're going to be getting things done, right? 4 days, you're going to be working hard. The designer, are they going to spend 4 days? Or 3 days? Or 2 days? Or 1 day? How does it work? And this is where you have to be really honest with yourself, okay? Because if the designer only spends 1 day on it, that means let me clarify that again, okay? So we've got the designer and we've got the dev, right? You're going to spend 4 days, they're going to spend 1 day. That means per week they could probably work on 7 projects. They won't work every day, but let's just pretend. You, on the other hand, could probably work on I don't know, let's just go with 1.5, okay? 1.5 projects. So if they genuinely are working on like how long it takes, you can then work out the mathematics. And now it's like, right, they'll get 20% and you'll get 80%. I only wrote 4 there, okay? But it very much depends on the time. And I know you could argue, yeah, but building a website takes far more. I don't think it matters to an extent, right? If you're going to take 4 days and they're going to take a day, then that's how you split it. If they take 4 days genuinely, you know, because they're going to be drag and dropping as well and having conversations and whatever. What you need to find out, though, is how much time is the doing, right? Because I know people that say, like if I say to someone, it's going to take me 1 day, right? That could be about 8 hours work, right? And that's me working flat out on that. No live chats, no recording videos, no just sat there looking at Facebook, watching videos. That's me working flat out, right? I might have videos playing in the background and I'm listening, but I'm actually working flat out, right? If, however, a designer says I'm spending 1 day with the client, how much of that was actually doing? Because it might be there was 2 hours, right? Then they waited to see the client and there was a 30-minute call. And then there was some refinement. That was a 30-minute refinement. And then there was another 30-minute call. So all in all, they've done 3.5 hours. Because what they call a day may be very different to what you call a day. So there's a lot of variables there that you have to iron out within your team structure. But you need pure honesty. And here's the problem with, you know, if the client says, yep, we're going to pay you $5,000. The designer's probably going to say, hey, I want 2.5 and you get 2.5. But if you're doing like 4 days worth of effort and theirs comes to 1 day effort, then actually they deserve 1 and you deserve 4. But it all comes down to relationship, honesty, and did you have this understanding before you? The worry I have, though, Pulp, reading your question, is when you ask the question here, that means you haven't worked that out at the moment. So if the client has decided to hire a designer and a developer, and you two are not part of the same team, what you want to design to build a website is your cost. I don't give a shit what the designer gets. Your cost is your cost. If, however, you were a team before and you had this like business model with they do the design, we build it, and we have an understanding with they won't design stuff that they know we can't do with Elementor, so they will try and steer the client to a particular design or a way of doing the layout and all of that. If you are that kind of team, but you haven't ironed out before you even went to a client, that's a recipe for disaster. Because that means that you probably think, he probably thinks, or he, she gets 50-50, right? So you gotta have this ironed out. If you ever work in an agency, right? If you decide to employ a team or anything, you have to make absolutely clear, if we win a website, okay, and the client is gonna pay 20K, right? How much does the developer get? How much does the agency owner get? How much does someone else get? How much does whatever get? What's the cut? Because if, for instance, the developer only gets paid, say, 1K and the agency owner gets 19K, I'd be pissed off. Because then, right, you could argue, but if the website was, let me just do this again, because I always want to make it easier for you to understand. 20K, so the developer gets 1, whoops, and the owner gets 19, right? If you now get a 5K website, does the dev still get 1 and the owner gets 4? Or is it that because of this, oh, I wish I hadn't gone for this example now. Let me just change it. Let me make it easier for myself as well, right? Let's say it's 10K. Let's change that to 1K, right? So dev gets 1 and the owner gets 9, so they get 90%. If the job is now 1K, does that mean the dev only gets $100 and the owner gets $900 because it's still a 90% equation? Or does the developer always get 1K? Well, if they always get 1K, there's nothing for the owner now. What is the business model going on? And you have to have this ironed out. You have to know that every job that comes in, okay, this is my minimum, right? What you should have is as a developer, right? I should get paid 1K per website. I'm just giving you imaginary values, right? So if the website is, I should get 1K minimum of the value. But, no, sorry, I've done that wrong. So if you are the developer, right, you'll have a ladder. So the websites start off from 0 to 5K. In fact, that's wrong as well. Any websites from 1 to 5K, the developer will get 1K, meaning the agency owner gets nothing. If, however, the website goes from 6K to 10K, then the developer will now get 2K or 3K. If the website is 11 to 20, now they will get 5K. You got to scale. You got to have a pricing ladder, scale, a commission rate. And there's so many models. And you can go to ChatGPT. Go to ChatGPT and say, how can we come up with a realistic business model for how we split it up? But you need to have this conversation way before you take on clients. You don't do it. What if a client comes with 100,000, they want to pay £1 million? You'll be happy with 500,000, but if the developer just like said, oh, I'll just use a design I did for someone else, they won't know. Do they deserve to get $500,000 as well? Reality checks needed here. Mohammed Ibrahim, so in terms of cool advanced animation, product is fixed in the center of the page and the page is scrolling. You just do a fixed absolute. You just do fixed position. That's all you do. Fixed position and you'll be okay. You'll be all right. Will I be doing a video about pricing system for real world clients? I mean, I have found that what I say in my videos with that doesn't really change compared to what I said before. So I might do a refresher, maybe. Pulp, just want to say thanks. Your perspective really helped. And yes, we are a team. Before this, we were splitting 35-60. 35-65 is okay. 35-65 is okay. If you are saying that if the designer spends 1 day, when you come to build the website, you're only spending 2 days, right? So that's 3. So 33% and then 66%, right? Then it works. Then that what you've said with the 35 and 65 works. However, if you are spending, so the designer spends 1 day and you spend 10 days, that does not work anymore. Now the split needs to be, well, you have to work it out, but it'll be something like 9% and I don't know, 91%. Something like that. No, I don't want to do the ratios now, but you gotta split it up and work it out. All right, everyone, I'm going to jump off now. If you've not had a go on the WebP Converter version 2.1, go and give it a go. Make a backup. Download, export your files and database to a hard drive so you don't get hit by any shock problems or anything like that. Staging site, all of that. Be very careful. Be very safe. And if you find a way and you know how to make it better, the what, the how, the where in the code, please, 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 share it. Let me know. Because if there's a way we can improve and make things better, damn it, let's do it. Let's make the WebP Converter the best we can make it for free, for everyone, for businesses, for agencies, for freelancers, for anyone and everyone that's ever misunderstood or was scared to do something about it, or they were priced out, or they ran out of credits and they, or whatever. Something we can do. I hope you're enjoying the live chats. I know I can be very outspoken. I know I can be, I'm not going to say controversial, but I do kind of just put it out there and say what I'm thinking and feeling. But I feel like We need to sometimes hear the truth, the without any bullshit, without any niceties, cut to the chase, just say it like it is, without being, without bringing race, religion, politics, ethnicity, culture, anything into it. We're just keeping it real. And if I ever do offend anyone with regards to business models, business ideas, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, I'm just saying what a lot of other people think and say as well. But sometimes you have to do that. Smash the like button. Will I be live tomorrow? I've got a lot of catching up to do because I've lost a lot of time since Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, much of this morning because I was still testing. So over 6 days, close to 6 days-ish, maybe more than 6 days. I don't know. 6 days worth of effort. And I am very, very tired. I'm not actually feeling well. I'm feeling very not well today. But I feel like when you start something, you need to see it through. And I want to make this snippet the snippet that everyone considers to use before they go down other options and other routes. I want this to be the game changer for people. People have said you can't call it revolution. You can't call it ultimate. You can't call it the greatest. I think it is. I think this is the biggest game changer, in my opinion, for a long, long time in the world of WordPress for what we can now do. And what this should do is open your eyes to what you can do with a bit of AI and imagination. Because now this should get you excited. Because there's a lot of people vibing. There's a lot of people doing coding. But they're creating things and they get really excited. Hey, look at this and look at that. And I look at it and go, who's going to use that? How many of you have seen videos out there where people are creating? There's people creating things is brilliant. But if you have to be really brutally fucking honest, right? How many videos where people are vibing, AIing, prompting, designing, creating things, and they get really excited and they're showcasing it. They might be free, there might be a cost, and it's growing. And, how many of them have you looked at and gone, oh, I will use that. I'll use that on my client's website. Oh, I've been waiting for that. How many? Because I have seen zero. Absolutely fuck all. Everyone's going, oh, look at this, look at that, look at that. And I'm like, why would you use it? What was the major efficiency or something you did there? AI is great. I use AI all the time, but there comes a point when you create something maybe where you kind of go, meh. This WebP converter changes the game for so many. Right, I'm jumping off now. Subscribe, share, like. No, I hope you like, subscribe, share, and follow. I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.